I never expected my marriage to crumble over a simple swipe. It was just a normal evening, nothing special. I was out with a couple of friends, laughing over drinks, when someone casually mentioned catching their husband on a dating app. I laughed along with them, shaking my head. Imagine that. I mean, my husband, Ryan, would never, right? But something about that conversation stuck with me. It clung to me like a stubborn shadow even as I drove home, even as I crawled into bed beside Ryan's sleeping form. His face looked so peaceful in the dim glow of our nightlight. Familiar, safe. And yet, as I lay there staring at the ceiling, that tiny, nagging thought kept growing. What if? It was stupid. I knew it was. But curiosity gnawed at me, tightening around my chest. It wasn't that I didn't trust him. I did. Or at least I thought I did. But if I really, really trusted him, why was my heart pounding as I grabbed my phone? I hesitated. My fingers hovered over the screen, my pulse drumming in my ears. I almost convinced myself to stop, to roll over and sleep. But then, almost without thinking, I did it. I downloaded the app. It took just a few minutes to set up an account. My stomach twisted as I scrolled, passing strangers with forced smiles and empty eyes. What am I even doing? This is ridiculous. And then I saw him. Ryan. My breath caught in my throat. My vision blurred for a second as I stared at his picture. It was him. The same easy grin I had fallen in love with, the same sharp blue eyes that once looked at me like I was his world. But I wasn't his world anymore, was I? His profile wasn't bare. It was complete. He had taken the time to craft a bio, to upload recent pictures, including one he had taken just last week at his office party. My mind raced, trying to make sense of it. And then I saw his tagline, "Just looking for some fun, nothing serious." The room suddenly felt too small, too suffocating. The air around me thickened as my stomach twisted into knots. My hands trembled as I clenched my phone, trying to steady my breathing. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. I stared at the screen, hoping, praying for some kind of explanation that made this okay. But there was none. I felt cold all over, my skin prickling with something I couldn't name. My mind played cruel tricks on me, replaying every moment of our marriage, every kiss, every whispered "I love you." Were they all lies? For a long time, I just sat there, gripping the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. I needed to wake him up. I needed to shove the phone in his face and demand answers. But then another thought crept in, a darker one. What would he even say? I already knew. He'd brush it off. He'd smile that easy, disarming smile and tell me it was just a joke, just meaningless fun. I could already hear the excuses, the way his voice would dip into that lighthearted, dismissive tone he used whenever he didn't want to have a serious conversation, and that scared me more than anything, because if it was just fun to him, did that mean my pain didn't matter? I didn't cry. I wanted to. But the tears wouldn't come. Instead, I felt hollow, like something inside me had cracked wide open. So I did the only thing I could. I placed the phone on my nightstand, turned off the screen, and lay back down. I closed my eyes and forced my breathing to slow, listening to the rhythmic rise and fall of Ryan's breaths beside me. For the first time in our marriage, I felt like I was lying next to a stranger. And in that moment, I made a decision. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to cry. Instead, I was going to play his game. And I was going to win. The next morning felt like I was trapped in some kind of twisted, alternate reality. I went through the motions, brushed my teeth, fixed my hair, made coffee, like everything was normal. But it wasn't. It would never be normal again. Ryan was in the kitchen when I walked in, his back to me, humming some song under his breath as he scrolled on his phone. I stared at him for a long second, my stomach twisting into a knot so tight it hurt. How many times had I walked into this very room and seen him exactly like this? How many mornings had I kissed his cheek, poured us coffee, and sat at this very table thinking I was married to a good man, a faithful man? But now, all I could see was the man who had a profile on a dating app. A profile he had built so effortlessly, so casually, while coming home to me every night. He must have sensed me standing there because he looked up and flashed me his usual easygoing smile. "Morning, babe," he said, completely oblivious. "You sleep okay?" I forced myself to move, gripping the counter so my fingers didn't tremble. "Yeah," I lied, my voice too even, too controlled. I busied myself with the coffee pot, anything to keep my face turned away from him. I could feel him behind me, sipping his coffee, checking his phone, completely at ease. Like nothing had changed, like the world wasn't falling apart around me. I stole a glance at him. He looked the same tousled hair, the same sharp jawline, the same stupid dimple that used to make my heart flutter. But now, looking at him just made my chest ache. I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake him and ask why. Why wasn't I enough? Why did he need the thrill of swiping through strangers when I had given him my everything? But I didn't. Instead, I swallowed the bitterness rising in my throat and sat down across from him at the table. "What's on your agenda today?" I asked, keeping my voice light, casual. He shrugged. "Just the usual. A couple of meetings, then hitting the gym after work. Should be home by 7. 7. That meant I had the whole day to think, to plan. Because last night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, I made a decision. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg for an explanation that would only be filled with lies. Number I was going to play along. I took a slow sip of coffee, watching him over the rim of my mug. He was still scrolling, probably through work emails, or maybe just checking sports scores, or maybe something else. Would he be swiping through profiles right now with me sitting just a few feet away? The thought sent a sharp pang through my chest, but I pushed it down. I forced a smile. "Hey, random question." He looked up, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah?" "If you ever caught me on a dating app, what would you do?" His reaction was instant. His hand froze mid-scroll, and for the briefest second, just a fraction of a second, his expression shifted. A flicker of something. Guilt? Fear? But then, just as quickly, it was gone. He smirked. "Caught you? Babe, please, you'd never do that." I let out a soft laugh, tilting my head. "But if I did?" He chuckled, shaking his head. "I don't know, I guess I'd ask what the hell was going on." He set his phone down and leaned back in his chair, stretching. "But let's be real, you're not the type." His words hit me in a way I didn't expect. "You're not the type." What did that mean? That I was predictable? That I was too loyal? That I would never dare do something like that? I kept my expression neutral, but inside, something shifted. Maybe I wasn't the type, but maybe it was time to be. Because while Ryan left for work that morning, whistling as if nothing was wrong, I picked up my phone. And with steady hands, I created a profile of my own. And this time, I was the one swiping. Creating the profile felt like crossing a line I never thought I'd even approach. My hands trembled slightly as I typed, but I forced myself to stay steady. Every click, every choice felt like another piece of my heart shattering. A part of me hated doing this. It felt wrong, like I was betraying the very vows I once held sacred. But then I reminded myself, Ryan did this first. I entered a fake name. Nothing too different, just something generic enough not to raise suspicion. My fingers hovered over the age section. Should I keep it the same? Change it? In the end, I left it as is. Let's see if he really knew his own wife. Then came the pictures. I stared at my camera roll, biting my lip. If I used my usual photos, he'd recognize me in an instant. But I wasn't trying to trick him. I just wanted to see how far he was willing to go. So I selected a few selfies, ones where my makeup was a little heavier, my hair styled differently. Familiar enough, but different. As I hit save and my profile went live, a cold wave of nerves rushed through me. My heart pounded and my mouth went dry. I was really doing this. And now all I had to do was wait. I spent the next few hours in a haze, barely focusing on anything else. I tried to go about my day as usual, folding laundry, answering emails, even stepping outside to get some fresh air. But the weight of my phone in my pocket felt like a ticking bomb. I checked the app more times than I wanted to admit. Nothing. Maybe he wouldn't see me. Maybe he wasn't even active on there. Maybe I had overreacted, and his profile had just been some old abandoned joke that meant nothing. Or maybe... My phone buzzed. My stomach flipped as I grabbed it, my breath catching in my throat. New match. I swallowed hard. My hands felt clammy as I tapped the notification, my pulse roaring in my ears. And there he was, Ryan. I stared at the screen, my heart hammering so violently I thought I might actually be sick. There was no hesitation on his end, no second guessing. He had swiped right on me, his own wife, without even realizing it. My throat tightened, my vision blurred. I felt like I was floating outside my own body, watching this unfold as if it were someone else's nightmare. I clicked into his profile, my eyes scanning over the words I had already memorized. Just looking for some fun, nothing serious. I gripped my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. Fun, Dot. Nothing serious. Like our marriage was nothing serious. Like the life we built together was just some game he could play whenever he got bored. Anger and heartbreak warred inside me, but through it all, one single clear thought emerged. He had no idea. A slow, cold calm washed over me as my fingers hovered over the keyboard. I could say anything. I could confront him now. I could expose him for what he was. But where was the satisfaction in that? Number, I wasn't going to end this yet. I was going to make him sweat. I took a deep breath, my chest rising and falling as I typed my first message. A flirty, playful line. Something light. Something that wouldn't scare him off, and then I hit send. As I watched the screen, waiting for him to reply, a strange sensation crept over me. For the first time since this nightmare began, I felt in control. The moment I hit send, my heart pounded so hard I thought Ryan might hear it from wherever he was. The message was simple, flirty, just enough to reel him in. Hey there, handsome. You seem like my type. What's a guy like you looking for? I stared at the screen, every muscle in my body tense. My hands felt clammy and my stomach twisted with something I couldn't quite name. Was it nerves? Anger? Maybe a sick mixture of both. Seconds felt like hours. I watched the little delivered sign, waiting, wondering if he would answer right away, or if he'd hesitate, if maybe, just maybe, he'd think twice before responding. But the 3 little dots appeared almost immediately. He was typing. I sucked in a breath. My fingers tightened around my phone. Hey there, beautiful, just looking for some fun. What about you? The words felt like a slap. I knew what I was doing, I knew what to expect, but seeing it, watching my husband so effortlessly flirt with someone he thought was a stranger, was an entirely different kind of pain. I could picture him, wherever he was, probably at work, probably smirking at his phone, leaning back in his chair like this was just another casual conversation, like he hadn't just betrayed me again. A bitter laugh bubbled in my throat, but I swallowed it down. I could end this now. I could send a screenshot and confront him, demand answers, watch him squirm. But no, not yet. I needed to know just how far he was willing to take this. So I played along. Fun sounds nice. Tell me, Ryan, what's your idea of fun? I hesitated just long enough to make him sweat, then hit send. More dots. He was eager now. I could practically feel the excitement radiating from the screen. Oh, I don't know, he wrote. Depends on the company. You seem like a woman who knows how to have a good time. I felt my jaw clench so hard my teeth ached. Had he said that exact line to other women before? Was this his go-to? Just an easy, lazy flirtation he tossed around to whoever gave him attention? I curled my fingers around my phone, trying to control the sheer rage building inside me. Don't react. Keep going. I forced my breathing to slow and typed back. You might be right. Maybe we should get to know each other a little better. Tell me something about yourself, Ryan. Something your wife doesn't know. I hovered over the send button for a moment, then tapped it, my pulse roaring in my ears. Let's see how deep this rabbit hole went. His reply came quick, too quick. Oh, now that's an interesting challenge. Well, let's just say I have a few secrets. I nearly threw my phone across the room. Secrets? I had spent years thinking I knew this man, loving him, trusting him, building a life with him. And here he was, casually admitting to having secrets like it was some fun little game. But this wasn't a game. Not for me. I sat back, my mind racing. This had gone far enough. It was time to turn the tables. I cracked my knuckles, flexing my fingers before I typed my next message. You know, Ryan, you remind me a lot of my husband. Handsome, charming, but a little dangerous. I bet he has secrets too. And then I waited. Because the moment he read that, I knew his heart would start racing too. The moment I hit send, my entire body tensed. I imagined the exact moment Ryan read my message, his smirk fading, his fingers pausing mid-type, his heart stuttering in his chest as realization set in. My phone sat still in my hands, but I could feel the electricity buzzing in the air around me. I watched the screen, waiting, and then, finally, 3 little dots appeared. He was typing. Then, they stopped. Started again. Stopped. My lips curled into a humorless smile. He was panicking. Good. I leaned back, exhaling through my nose as I imagined his reaction. Maybe his palms were sweating now, his mind racing, trying to figure out if this was a coincidence or a nightmare unfolding before his eyes. Finally, his reply came through. Ha ha ha, that's funny. What do you mean? I let the message sit there, my pulse steady now. I could almost see him, trying to play it cool while his insides twisted. I let a minute pass, then 2. I wanted him to suffer. Finally, I typed back, I mean exactly what I said. You remind me of my husband, the one who told me dating apps were just for fun, the one who's supposed to be at work right now but is too busy flirting with a stranger. Does that ring a bell, Ryan? I sent it. And this time? No dots, no reply, just silence. I waited, my chest rising and falling with slow, deliberate breaths. The power had shifted now. I was in control. Minutes passed. Then, from the other room, his ringtone. My stomach clenched, but I stayed still. The call ended. Another one came through immediately. I ignored them. Then, a text. Emma, we need to talk. Right now. Oh, now we need to talk? I let out a short, bitter laugh. The audacity. The nerve. When I had confronted him before, he had laughed it off. Told me I was overreacting, that it was just a joke. But now? Now that he was the one sweating? Suddenly, it was serious. I stood up slowly, rolling my shoulders, stretching out my fingers before grabbing my phone. I opened our texts. Dozens of messages from him, one after another. Baby, please answer. Emma, it's not what you think. Let's just talk, okay? I can explain. I didn't mean any of it. I stared at the words, a strange calm settling over me. He didn't mean it. I let those 4 words sink in. So what did he mean? That he accidentally made a dating profile? That he accidentally flirted with other women? That he accidentally told a complete stranger he was looking for fun? Number. He had meant every word. He just hadn't meant to get caught. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I could already picture the scene that was about to unfold. He'd come rushing home, desperate to smooth things over. He'd try to spin it, try to convince me I was the crazy one, that it was harmless, that it didn't mean anything. And maybe, before last night, I would have believed him. But not anymore. So I typed my final message. You're right, Ryan. We do need to talk, but not over text. I'll see you when you get home. I hit send and locked my phone, placing it face down on the table. And then, for the first time in hours, I smiled. Because this time, I wasn't the one waiting for answers. He was. The house was silent. Too silent. I stood by the window, arms crossed, staring at the street, waiting. The sun had already started to set, casting long, golden shadows across the floor. The clock on the wall ticked steadily, a rhythmic reminder that the moment I had been anticipating was almost here. Then, headlights. A car door slammed. Heavy footsteps echoed up the driveway. Ryan was home. My pulse remained steady, but I could feel the tight coil of energy in my chest. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared. I was ready. The front door swung open and Ryan stepped inside. His hair was disheveled, his shirt slightly wrinkled, like he had run his fingers through his hair one too many times on the drive home, trying to figure out how to fix this. His eyes landed on me instantly. "Emma," he breathed, closing the door behind him. His voice was tight, controlled, but I saw the flicker of panic in his expression. "Good." I tilted my head slightly, studying him. Ryan. For the first time since I found his profile, I wasn't the one scrambling for answers. He was. He let out a forced chuckle, stepping toward me. "Listen, I can explain." I held up a hand. "No," I said, my voice sharp but calm. "You don't get to start with that." His mouth snapped shut. He swallowed, shifting uncomfortably. His fingers twitched at his sides. I watched as he tried to read my face to gauge how much I knew. I wasn't going to make this easy for him. "You swiped right on me," I continued, tilting my head. "Tell me, Ryan, how exactly do you plan on explaining that?" His Adam's apple bobbed. He exhaled sharply, dragging a hand down his face. "I didn't know it was you." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh? So if it wasn't me, would that have made it okay?" His lips parted, but no words came out. He hesitated just a second too long, and that hesitation? That was my answer. I let out a slow, bitter laugh. Wow. I turned away, pacing toward the kitchen. I needed distance. I needed air. But Ryan wasn't done. He followed quickly, desperation creeping into his tone. "No, Emma, listen to me. I never planned on actually meeting anyone. It was just harmless fun, a stupid distraction." I spun around, my chest tightening. A distraction from what, Ryan? From our marriage? From me? He flinched. His face twisted into something raw, something ugly. I saw the regret there. The real kind, not just the regret of getting caught. But it wasn't enough. It would never be enough. "Emma, He reached for me, but I stepped back, shaking my head. "Do you even hear yourself?" My voice wavered, but I steadied it. "Do you know how humiliating it was to see your face there, to watch you flirt with me like I was just another random woman?" His face crumbled. It didn't mean anything. I let out a breathless, disbelieving laugh. It meant something to me. The room went still. Ryan exhaled, running both hands through his hair now, pacing. "I don't know why I did it," he admitted, his voice quiet, almost broken. I felt stuck, bored. I held up a hand again. "Stop!" He froze. "I don't care why you did it." My voice was steady now, cold and final. "I care that you chose to do it." His eyes met mine. He knew. He knew. This wasn't something we could come back from. I turned away, walking past him. My overnight bag was already packed. "Wait," he said, panic lacing his voice now. "You're leaving?" I grabbed the handle, gripping it tightly before turning back. "I don't deserve this, Ryan." His eyes were wide, desperate, but I had nothing left to give. I walked to the door, pausing just before stepping out. "Maybe next time," I said softly, "you'll think twice before swiping right." And with that, I walked away. I didn't look back. What would you have done in this situation? Have you ever caught someone playing a harmless game with your trust? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.